Hello and welcome to the Coffee and Collaborations podcast. I am your host, Kimberly Winborn of Kimberly Winborn LLC. You can find out all about coffee and collaborations at www.coffeeandcollaborations.com and email us. Continue to send your comments, questions, emails, and if you have a recommendation for someone to be on the podcast, you can send that to info@coffeeandcollaborations.com. We also offer advertising. So today we are going to be highlighting at the end of the call and throughout someone who is a sponsor of the podcast, and she's releasing her new CD single very soon, LaTanya Miori. So you'll hear a little bit of a snippet during the commercial break with her new single, Superman. Thank you, LaTanya. We want to support you. Go and check her at LaTanya Miori on all social media. Today we have two amazing ladies. So Coffee and Collaborations is all about collaboration. And this is Women's History Month. And so I asked these two dynamic women, Cindy Foy Euler and Sue Kimple of the Fierce Female Founders, to join me because they have created an amazing collaboration that is not only blessing them, but blessing the lives of so many others who are entrepreneurs that want to grow to another level. So how about you ladies introduce yourselves and tell us all about your organization? Sue?
So thanks for having us, Kimberly. We have been at this together since August. I'm going to let Cindy tell the story of exactly what happened on August 6th, but we kind of brought our visions together, and we just wanted to really give women entrepreneurs everything that they need to be able to succeed in business. And I brought some pieces, and she had this vision of how she might do these things. And the collaboration has been incredible, just because we've been able to kind of fill in some blanks and bring a little more cohesion to things. And we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go along. But I think that one of the things that we find when we talk to women, and one of the reasons why they like to work with us, is because we are a community. And we give folks the opportunity to find all kinds of ways that they can collaborate within the community. Mm-hmm. And this community that we build is kind of an outgrowth of that collaboration that Cindy and I forged back on August 6th. And so now I'm going to kick it to you to talk about August 6th, because that's you tell the story best.
Thanks, Sue. I'm Cindy Foy Euler. So Sue and I have been working together. We both had several businesses at the time, and Sue had been helping me with some marketing work that I was doing. And we had gone to a networking luncheon. Imagine that. Afterwards, she said, "Let's just go have a cup of coffee." So we did. Sue was at the time running, I think, a couple of mastermind groups and some marketing things that were going on, and she just kind of expressed the fact that she wasn't satisfied with what was going on. And I was in the same boat. I worked with small, medium-sized businesses and had for years, but I couldn't get any energy around it. I couldn't seem to get it where it needed to go. And I said, I feel kind of the same way. And I said, but I've got this thing rattling around in my head. And so I rattled, and so I went to, because I have to draw on something when I'm talking.
Yeah.
So I'll either have a flip chart, a piece of paper, napkin, whatever.
Yes.
So I basically, when I didn't even have a pen. I had a piece of paper, but didn't have a pen. We had to go borrow a pen from the barista. So I went and borrowed a pen, came back, and I started drawing out this model that I'd had for a long time. It was based on revenue, and it's based on bringing a company in at a very small fee to begin with and helping them to build their revenue. And as we helped them build their revenue, their contribution obviously became more.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and it's not only that, but it's a community, and we also provide all the auxiliary services around it. So we would have the marketing people, we would have the lawyers, we would have the accountants, what every company needs, so that they don't have to go outside of this community, so to speak, to try to find things and find people that sometimes are good, sometimes are not. So vetted all those kind of things too as well, right? So she looks at it and says, "That's it." And she says, that's perfect. It's just exactly kind of what I had in my head. So she goes and spends the weekend, and I think we back and forth 2 or 3 times that weekend in terms of how we could market it. And I was more or less, because I'm more on the operations side, I was like, can we make the numbers work? Does this thing, well, what would it take to make it viable and profitable? And what kind of fees do we need to charge, and et cetera, et cetera. And from there, it kind of just took a life of its own. And to be perfectly honest with you, one miracle right after the other. Things opened up. We found a space. We were working in Vibe at the time, and we went to them, and they gave us a room and said, if you outfit this room, you can use it. So we outfitted the room. We had people come to us, and we still, I would say, are somewhat slack on our marketing. Just because, and any entrepreneur will understand this, there's so much stuff going on. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, and that too. But we've had 6 women. Since October, we've had 6 or 8 women actually come through. We've had a couple that came and said, no, this is not what I want. And that's fine. That's part of what we're here for, is to help them figure out whether that's something they really want or not.
Right.
And we expect that. We know we're going to have dropout. We have, so that was in August. This is March.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
that's
so we have,
good.
we have 6 companies right now. We have one that has funding, and we have one that has a patent pending that we've already had a patent filed for. So
wow.
I never thought, never in a million years, that I think that, and we had that at the end of December, which was just amazing, because if you take that into consideration, we kind of opened the door, soft opened in September. We did start doing a hard push, so to speak, in October. And then you go into Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we all know how that was. So going into December, we're coming out the 1st of January. We had patent and funding, which was just as phenomenal. And we since then have found an additional space, which fits us much better, and allows us not only to give our founders a place to co-work, but a place to actually practice their MVP. So we have one here now who Sue can talk a little bit more about in terms of the homeschooling, but she's actually being able to kind of test that market and test that idea. Although the virus is not helping us right now, but but again, it's something that we know we're going to get through. So it is giving us an opportunity to get the center to where we think it should be, and so we know that when we come back online, we'll be ready to rock and roll. So it's all blessing, and that's kind of how we started and where we are right now. We're looking at a lot of different ways of how do we actually take care of this during this situation where that none of us have been in. So
it is something to consider, with all of these digital resources, especially with what you all do, and we're going to break that down just a little bit more in just a second. There's so many online opportunities to bring groups together, groups of women who want to take, and I love you all's kind of tagline, powered from ideation to exit. So who want to have these amazing ideas. All these visionaries in the world, right? We have all these amazing ideas, but don't know how to actually get from A to Z. I see all the training and all of the ideas and things like that you guys have mapped for people in Sue's background. Like what a perfect background to share what you all do. So, and if you add a community to that, that's what I got from what you just said. You're adding community to that. You're adding a co-working space. You're also adding space for an opportunity for somebody to actually be able to try things out and grow beyond that. You did it yourself. You started off in a smaller space and grew exponentially from August to now. Is crazy.
Right.
you grew, and then help other people. So the results are there from your experience, your story, and then those who have come through there. So that's what I got from the
Okay.
combination of what the two of you said, and that's exciting. Aren't you? Are you guys excited? You got to be excited. I don't even live it.
I would say that, I still, and even now I get chills when I think at it, and when I'm sitting in a new space and I look out and I just go and I just shake my head. I can't even believe it. I can't even fathom that we got to this place.
Yeah, miracles, like you said.
Yeah, it's been one miracle right after the other.
Yeah,
just
but
miracles. Things have just fallen into place that Sue and I both look at each other and go, there's no way that this could have happened.
Yeah.
You know?
And miracles are, absolutely, but also you guys have a skill set that you can stand upon. So if you can you guys tell me separately, why don't we go back to Sue, what's your background? What did you bring to the table? And then Cindy, if you could tell us what you brought to the table and how you were able to build that from those two separate skill sets.
Okay.
Well, yeah, to kind of walk it backwards, I've been doing marketing strategy for the past few years, which came out of, I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And I founded a couple of startups. The first one that I founded failed spectacularly, and it's what I say, that was the best school I could have ever gone to.
What?
Don't do all the things, right? And then I got hired at another startup and still made plenty of mistakes, but did a lot of things a little better that time around, and understood, how when you take the right path and you do the right things, and got a little more mentoring, right? And so I had some people to kind of and saw what I did there. But before I got into the entrepreneurial world at all, I was in education. So I was in the charter school system when charter schools were a brand new thing, and so that was kind of an entrepreneurial educational space to be in. And then I became an administrator. So I was a principal, and I actually helped found a school for the arts. And we often spoke of that place as a place of imagination and innovation, and all the kinds of things that make an art school, and that kind of education that you bring to those kids, it kind of stretches their capacity.
Yeah.
Thinking and problem solving and critical thinking skills and seeing things differently. It is kind of an entrepreneurial thing. So, and my dad was an entrepreneur, so this is kind of in my blood. But what I bring to the table particularly is kind of a teaching, almost kind of de facto counseling. I don't profess to be a counselor, but believe me, when you're in the principal's office, you're counseling people all day long, right? So mostly teachers. And then marketing strategy and messaging and writing, because before I was in education, I was also a writer. So it's kind of like, for me, it's all come together here, and in this space and teaching in a different kind of way. It's wonderful how it's all just kind of fit together so nicely. My skill sets have kind of all sort of come to bear here now in a new way. Really cool. Yeah.
And then Cindy?
I think part of the impetus behind this whole center, it has been my background. I'm a female electrical engineer, and I was a female electrical engineer before it was real popular. Not that it's real popular right now, but so I was one of 3 that started in my class, the only one that graduated, only female that graduated.
Wow.
So I grew up, so to speak, professionally in that era where to be successful as a female, you had to basically conform to become a male, right? You had to let's put the suit on, let's do this, let's do that, let's and forget all that, and please don't bring any of that emotion and caring and all that kind of stuff with you when you come to work.
Yeah.
That was true, inherently throughout the organizations and all those kind of things. So as I progressed through that, and I moved over into more of a consulting role and did a lot of process consulting work for like about 15 plus years is what I always use. Then I went out on my own. I had gone out on my own before, and then I came back because I got tired of getting on and off airplanes. But what was frustrating for me was the same conversations I was having 20 years ago, I'm having today And it's like nothing changed. It's like, okay, guys, why are we having this same conversation around, well, come back when you have a male CEO, and who do you have on your board that's male, and almost a little pat on the head and thank you, sweetheart, and come on back when you have a real idea. And it was frustrating. It was frustrating for me, but it's frustrating for a lot of female entrepreneurs out there, because they all get told that, and they know they don't have access to funding. They're not accepted for what we bring to the table, which makes us unique, which makes us more powerful and more effective in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying that as a male bashing kind of thing at all.
For sure.
I'm just saying what we do is different.
Mm-hmm.
And let's shine a light on that difference as opposed to trying to change it. And that's been the frustration. The frustration for me was, it's like, I just need to stop this conversation. You go out with a lot of groups and everybody says this and this, that, and the other. And I was like, I'm tired of just, let's walk around with a sign. I want to do something about it. And that's, been the thing that Sue and I both have brought to the table, is that we have a great deal of passion around growing a different system. Because the system we have doesn't work, and to try to correct it is way too much work. So I want to make another one.
Right. That's what entrepreneurship is, innovation. And that's what leaders do. Leaders are innovators.
Right.
You figure out what's missing and fill that gap, and that's what you all have done. So women can come to the Fierce Female Founders group and have an idea. You guys will basically kind of help them to figure out if this idea will make money or not, right?
Right.
And then if not, tweak it, change it, whatever needs to happen. But if so, then you can give them input, systems, and all of that. Even be able to offer some level of funding. The whole nine. You were talking about having attorneys that can do patents, all of that. And they can get all of that from you.
We'll take women in any stage of business.
Okay.
So they may be in business already and are, kind of stuck, which a lot of folks get to. It's like, okay, I'm making this amount of money and I don't know how to get to the next. So we'll take anybody who's where they are. But to go back to the folks who have an idea, it's not just about the idea, right? There really is a particular process that one goes through before you can, even gauge whether or not the idea is a good one. And it's work that needs to be done, and most people have no idea how to do it. And it has to do with problems that we solve and being good problem solvers and getting feedback and all kinds of things go into that. And the reason why a lot of businesses will fail and a lot of ideas fail is because people are like, I have this idea and it's a great idea and everybody's going to love this idea. And why wouldn't they love this idea? And so I'm going to go all in with it instead of doing all the work that it takes, right?
Yeah.
To suss out whether or not that's an idea and if it's solving a problem. So there's a lot of work and to have some folks who can guide you and mentor you through that process, because it is a particular process and it takes a lot of work. But once you get to the other side of it, and then, let's say that you do have an idea or you have changed your idea or whatever it is that you need to do, then there's also just a lot of things that folks don't know how to do. And it's like, okay, now I'm at this point, now what do I do? Now where do I go? And there are a lot of good, incubators and accelerator programs in this area that can get people to a certain point and maybe even get them a little bit of funding. But what tends to happen after that is that's when folks are like, okay, well, good luck because they don't have maybe that one-on-one. They don't have it unless they're working with us, at least in this area. Nobody is really doing what we're doing right now, and particularly walking them through that process so that they know exactly what to do in order to get things to the next level.
Yeah, well, I love what you just said. Definitely the startup, the person with the idea, but even that person that has an established business, that woman that has an established business that just wants to go to the next level and doesn't know how, is stuck at the same place, you all can help them. But one of the things that I love about the startup concept is because you guys, I talked with you, it was 2 weeks ago, I think it was too, where even if somebody doesn't have the money to go through your program, you guys are able to connect them to a resource for financing or something along those lines. Can you expound on that a little bit? Because I don't know if I'm muddling it up, but I thought that was really great.
It's a financing platform, and so the entry fee to get into our program is $5,000. Our goal is that within 6 months we will get you to $50,000 revenue or get you to some significant funding. We can't say exactly what that looks like because every company is different. But we also understand, for some people, $5,000 is readily accessible, and for some folks, it's not. So we have a financing platform, and we deal with third-party lenders. So there are a lot of different options out there, a lot of different rates and terms depending on where somebody's coming in. And our advice to folks when they do that is take the longest loan out that you possibly can at the best possible terms, because our goal is to get you to where you're going to be able to pay that thing off as soon as possible. That's where we work. We go from that point. We're like, let's pay this thing off so that that's off of your plate, and we can move to, what the next level of revenue building looks like for you.
Yeah, I love that, and because, like, to your point, people are at different spaces. So I think about the person right now that's wondering what's next, what's going to happen. Cindy mentioned the coronavirus and, what we have going on. Things are kind of at a pause for some people, while at the same time, those others who are like, I got to keep going. What can I do different? What can I do next? This could absolutely be an opportunity to implement something new, and by plugging into some resources, they can have the answers that maybe they didn't even know that they were looking for, And so I love having the opportunity, especially through this platform, to open people's minds to something new, to change a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And that's what it's all about. And when you think about women in history, I didn't realize your background, Cindy, but gosh, to be the only female electrical engineer that graduated in your class, number one, a consultant of 15 years, but to be one of very few women in that category and in that field at all. Do you guys know Leslie Flowers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had her on the podcast when I first started. So she was probably my 7th guest. Her whole thing is about empowering women and all that, right? So we were talking about how that really does happen. The women at the table oftentimes get kind of like dumbed down at the table. And it's unfortunate. A man can say something and that a woman just said 10 minutes ago, and he says it, and it's like it's a whole new, like, oh, wow, you just said something.
Everybody's high-fiving each other. Yeah.
Yeah. When you just said it like 10 minutes ago. And, and so you sit in a room with men or whatever, you talk about it, and they're like, oh, no. But it's true. You have people, like you who've experienced that. And so one of the reasons that I really wanted to highlight women in history this month is because we have had to fight and continue to have to fight to have our place out here. And it's not something that is gone. Like, we still are in the fight to be recognized as equal. And so I love that I have you two dynamic women on here to show that example of powerful women doing it and doing it well. I wanted to find out if you have anything coming up, any sort of cohort or, anything coming up that you want to highlight for the business. So anybody that is interested in looking can plug into you ladies.
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because just like everybody else, we're kind of shifting right now.
Yeah.
Kind of in this new reality, because, one of the real draws to our program is having this physical space for people to come to. And we're pretty fortunate that we've got some big space and we can spread out, and, it's not like we necessarily have to shut all the things down, but we also understand that people have been trying to do the responsible thing, right? And shuttering in place, and we do have access to all this technology to where we can do a lot of things virtually. And a lot of our program is virtual because it doesn't all take place here. This is where the community is, but we have a curriculum that's online. We have our Accelerator app that's online, where we track folks' metrics and kind of make sure that we're holding them accountable. So we're looking at some virtual models to deliver certain trainings and programs here in the next few weeks. We've got connections with folks in different parts of the state, so a few things are in flux. But one of the things that we're talking about right now is doing an online workshop to help folks problem-solving thinking in these times. And we're probably going to do that in the next couple of weeks. But the process that I spoke about before, when we have an idea or we're solving a problem, we try to figure out how that becomes a business and how you might, it's called the entrepreneurial mindset. And we all have to adopt it in these times. So we are in uncharted territory here. And so we want to be able to provide something like that for the community and get people to put their heads together and come up with some ways that we can face the challenges that we are no doubt going to face over the next few months. This is, like you mentioned before, a really awesome time and an opportunity for folks who have ideas or want to be schooled in that kind of thinking, or looking, can I work on my business instead of so much in it? Here's an opportunity for that too. So there's a lot of different things that are coming up. Can't say exactly what the date's going to be for that yet, but if everybody who tunes into you, we'll certainly you'll be one of the first people we let them know how to register for that.
So is there a way to connect with you, to be able to follow you on social media or?
Sure, we can be found on all kinds of social media, Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a really great place to find me. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Or they can shoot me an email at sue@fiercefemalefounders.com is another pretty easy way for them to find me. But LinkedIn is a great place to start making connections too, and it's particularly in these times, it's a good way to build your network online if you're not, getting to some of the events or all of the events that we're used to going to out in the world right now. So yeah, absolutely. And hit me up and I'll let anybody know who's interested.
Yeah, and they also can just check out the website at Fierce Female Founders. Just gives you a little bit of background and also connects you in. If you give us your email, you'll be connected into our newsletters and any announcements that are coming out. So that's a good way to get in there as well. And again, I'm Cindy at Fierce Female Founders, so it's pretty easy. Although Fierce Female Founders gets a little bit long to type, but hey, you only have to put it in once. So, so if you have the tenacity enough to get that through, then you probably got tenacity enough to become an entrepreneur. It was our first test.
The first test is if you can put in fiercefemalefounders.com, then you're gonna win.
You're in. Yeah.
Yes, but I absolutely want to thank you, ladies. I want to ask you before we close out. Is there a woman in your past, individually or collectively, that really stands out to you when you think about your journey through entrepreneurship, one? And then if it's personal, that's fine too. But we definitely want to give you an opportunity to shout out any woman in your life that really stands out to you that makes a difference that you can think about.
I think when I think of kind of who's my role model in terms of maybe moving into these spaces, I would call out my old friend Martha Hines, who was the executive director of the organization that held the charter for the school that I ran. Mm-hmm. She was my boss technically and a good friend, and just had a whole lot of chutzpah, I'll say, and really wasn't afraid to challenge people. And as I was learning how to become that kind of person myself, she was there, and she was a good mentor. And I will always be grateful for the example that she set, the way that she helped kind of mentor me along on my path. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Martha Hines. Cindy, do you have anyone?
I would say the woman that impressed me the most throughout my life was my grandmother. Very tenacious, she gave me the courage and the determination to do what I wanted to do. She wasn't necessarily one standing there saying, here's what you need to do, or, but it was just through a transfer that I always look back and think that what the lessons I learned from her are the lessons that have helped me and kept me going when times got tough, because she was one tough cookie, I tell you that
much. She set you up nicely.
Yes.
That's awesome. Grandmas are so special, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yes. Well, thank you, ladies. I think about your total picture. It's kind of like from vision and collaboration. What a powerful example that we have in the two of you. Cindy, you said you drew a model, and Sue was in a place where you were looking for a transition, and you guys brought that vision together and created this collaboration that is helping so many people and will help thousands more, I'm sure, and maybe even more than that. So this is great. August 2019. to now, gosh, that's not even a year. So
No, it's barely a half a year.
not even right. And most of it happened by December. You know,
Right.
we've been really moving quite a bit for the past few weeks. So that is something. When we talk about collaboration and when we talk about just putting your mouth and your heart in action,
Right.
this is an amazing example. So I want to thank you all, first of all, for adjusting, you know, all of these changes. You have just ebbed and flowed. So thank you for that. And thank you for joining us on the Coffee and Collaborations podcast. I hope that some woman and man, whoever listens to this and is inspired and encouraged to open up your mind, be about growth, and realize that you can do anything. You can do anything out here that you set your mind to. If you have a plan, you have a vision, you open yourself up to collaboration, and you just do it.
Yep.
So that's it. Any closing
right.
words?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
You're welcome. All right, I'll see you next time on Coffee and Collaborations. Like I always say, you are put here and placed on this earth as a light for somebody else to feel that they have, that it is okay to shine, that they have permission. So go out and be a light and be open to what is next for you through collaboration. All right, take care.
It's not a girl. It's not a plan. It's just my
New music alert! Available on iTunes, Apple Music, and Google Play. National gospel recording artist LaTanya Miori has done it again. Released on March 27, 2020, you can download your copy of her latest single, Superman. Don't forget, March 27, 2020. Go and download your copy. Follow LaTanya Miori and find out about all of her music and upcoming events at LaTanyaMiori.com. That's LaTonyaMeori.com.
His love never runs out. He's got plenty